Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, I'm just kind of getting things ready for the next tournament. We've got the next Bassmaster Open of Division 2 on Kentucky Lake. And before every single tournament, I try to give myself a couple days at least to kind of tear the boat apart and then put it all back together and just make sure that it's organized to start the tournament. And one of the biggest things that I've got to do, and probably the most detail-oriented step in getting my boat ready, is getting all the soft plastics curated for that specific fishery that I'm going to be fishing. So right now I'm putting them all in these big bags, and those are going to go in the boat. And I wanted to kind of talk not about the soft plastics themselves, but one thing that I actually like to do using SCENTS. And SCENTS is, the different types of scents and attractants on the market are something that I've kind of gone back and forth on as far as their intended purpose, which is to attract fish. You know, I've done videos on this topic before. I'm not a huge believer in the attractant aspect of scents and things like that if they're oil-based, which most of the products on the market are oil-based, and so they really don't disperse in the water and dissipate to where I feel like they have a lot of drawing power. Yeah, if fish are nearby, very, very close, or if they're like right on the bait, they're probably going to be able to pick up some of that scent. But water-based scents, are probably way more effective as actual attractants, okay? Pulling fish from long distances to, get them to eat your bait. That's the whole goal, right? But over the years, I've really found some really big uses for, scents such as this. Not sponsored by Bait Fuel. I also use like smelly jelly. Like that's another one that I really like. I actually am kind of addicted to smelly jelly. Like the smell of the crawfish scented smelly jelly is ridiculous. It's like, to me, it's like lobster and butter. It's probably a problem at this point. But anyways, another thing that I like to do with scents, because I do think that they have a lot of really good functions. One of the things that I've talked about before is the fact that if you're on a jig bite, you're throwing like a football jig or any type of jig, and those fish just are not committing to keeping it in their mouth. Like you get a bite, the line pops, and you go to set the hook, and there's nothing there. It's just airball. In those type of situations, I really do think that a little bit of flavor, not necessarily scent, but flavor on that bait can get a fish to commit to swallowing that bait and improve your hooking percentage. I've had that happen many times where I'm on like a football jig bite, the fish aren't eating it very good, and so I ended up putting on some of that just delicious smelly jelly on there. And they end up just choking it down. But another thing that I started to do, especially when it comes to these new minnow techniques, so jig head minnows and stuff like that, obviously you have to have your bait perfectly straight. And so one of the issues with any plastic, but also, Elastec from, the Z-Man material, is that over time, especially if they're in your boat and you're, just jamming them into those Ziploc bags and stuff, they're gonna, kind of stick together, get a little bit misshapen and things like that. So I like to use a scent like Bait Fuel or something. Again, not sponsored by this company, but I like the qualities of it. I feel like, it's just, the perfect little addition to a bag of baits like this. I'll add just a little bit into a bag, and that serves a couple purposes. The first one is, I don't think it could hurt to have some extra scent in this bag, but the other thing, and probably the main thing, is it lubes up the baits in this bag. So I'll put a little bit of that Bait Fuel or smelly jelly or some other oil-based scent in there, and I'll go ahead and get all those baits kind of mixed up in it. And what ends up happening, let's add a little bit more. What ends up happening is that scent, that oil-based attractant, actually lubes everything up in there and keeps those baits from kinking up near as bad. They don't stick together and they don't kink up as bad because, you know, essentially, you know, when they kink up, you know, there's a little bit of resistance there. And if you have something to lubricate the baits, they won't tend to want to kink all the way. So obviously there's sometimes that you've got a bag that just needs to be thrown out because they're just way too misshapen. But if you've got some baits that, you know, you're about to fish and you want to make sure that they don't kink up, I'm not saying that adding scent to the bag is always going to work for every bait. If it's already misshapen, it's not going to unmisshapen, you know, it's not going to straighten it out. That's what boiling your baits can do. But if you're looking to preserve a bag of baits and make sure that they don't become kinked, I've found that adding a scent, an oil-based scent, to a bag of baits really allows those baits to stay, you know, straighter in the package. So anyways, guys, just wanted to share that little tip with you. You know, scents, you know, as far as the attractant side, still the jury is out. But as far as some of the other really important uses, I think that you gotta carry something like bait fuel or smelly jelly or some type of scent in your boat. I think it helps in situations like presented here. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in any of the scents that I personally use, like the bait fuel or the smelly jelly, I'm gonna put those links in the description below, so check those out. Other than that, let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. I'm gonna see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.